The Treaty of Versailles successfully marked the end of World War I on June 28, 1919. The treaty was composed of 15 parts and 440 articles. It ruined Germany economically and blamed them for everything that happened in the war, which enabled Hitler to rise to power and start World War II. France and Britain were the two primary countries leading the effort against Germany. The Prime Minister of France, Georges Clemenceau, proposed the harshest consequences for Germany to face. This is because of the anger France felt towards Germany for the massive amount of damage they caused, such as killing one-fifth of France's male population and the destruction caused from fighting on the western front of France, the border the two countries share. The Prime Minister of Britain, David Lloyd George, wanted things to go back to the way they were before the war, but at the same time did not want to cause another world war. Britain had little land damage but high war losses. They had a large investment in Germany, so they did not want to devastate them to the point that they would be unable to trade.
The United States joined the fight on April 6, 1917. They became involved after German soldiers killed 128 Americans when they attacked the Louisiana, and then broke the agreement they made afterward, which stated that Germany was to ensure the safety of passengers before sinking an unarmed ship when they destroyed an Italian liner, killing 272 people, with 27 of those passengers being American. After this occurred, the U.S. Senate took a vote to declare war on Germany, and was approved by 82 of the 88 senators present. The House of Representatives then endorsed the declaration by voting 373 to 50, causing the United States to officially enter World War I. The president at this time was Woodrow Wilson. Woodrow Wilson was a Democratic politician that showed strengths in settling issues. From 1902 to 1910, he was the president of Princeton University. During this time, he became known to the public for his ideas on education, such as changing the admission system, social system, college campuses, and pedagogical system. He decided to run for the governor of New Jersey so that he could pursue his beliefs. He won the election of 1912 against Theodore Roosevelt and William Taft. Roosevelt and Taft split the Republican vote, leaving the election for Wilson to win. Woodrow Wilson was re-elected in the 1916 election. This election was between Woodrow Wilson and Supreme Court Justice Charles Hughes. Woodrow Wilson won the election due to his ability to safely keep the United States out of the war.
The United States participated in the war for over a year and a half. During this time, over 2 million U.S. soldiers fought in various places in Europe. The very first battle participated in by the U.S. was the Battle of Cantigny. The U.S. supplied France and Britain with over 100,000 American soldiers. When the fighting ended, there was only 900 casualties and 100 Germans taken hostage. The Americans won the battle and forbid Germany from taking control of an important observation point on the Western Front. A ceasefire on Armistice Day was called to end the fighting of World War I. Shortly after this occurred, the USA, France, and Britain had come together to conduct a treaty that would end World War I. Woodrow Wilson represented the USA during the making of the treaty. He put forth 14 points that he believed would be the best for each country. These 14 points were divided up into 3 parts. The first 5 points were statements that could prevent another world war from occurring. The next 8 points were directed towards people who believed to be a different ethnicity. These remarks told these people to form a different nation. Wilson did this to avoid revolts that could possibly occur. The final point he suggested stated that a League of Nations shall be formed to communicate with other nations and avoid war.
The finalized treaty included 440 articles and 15 parts. Part 1 established the League of Nations, but did not allow Germany to join until 1926. Part 2 created new boundaries for Germany, which forced them to give up many territories they had control over. The land would be made into mandates and then divided among multiple other countries, with the majority going to France and some going to Belgium, Japan, and Britain. Part 3 instituted the Rhineland, which was a dematerialized zone that separated the Saar, a place rich in coalfields and other resources, from Germany for 15 years. During this time, the French would be given ownership of the land. Part 4 took away all of Germany's colonies. Part 5 reduced the German army to only 100,000 men. restricted the establishment of an air force, and only allowed the Navy to have 6 battleships with no submarines. Part 6 dealt with how prisoners of war should be dealt with and that all, including German prisoners, would be repatriated. Part 7 stated that all persons guilty of criminal acts against the nationals of one of the Allied and associated powers would be brought before the military tribunals of that power. It also forced Germany to release all documents and information of every kind. Part 8 made Germany take full responsibility for all damage and losses in the war. Article 231 is considered the most important text in the treaty and states, "The Allied and associated governments affirm and Germany accepts the responsibility of Germany and her allies for causing all the loss and damage to which the Allied and associated governments and their nationals have been subjected as a consequence of the war imposed upon them by the aggression of Germany and her allies." Part 9 imposed many financial obligations upon Germany. The next 6 parts dealt with Germany's trade regulations and relationships with other countries.
Among the German citizens, the Treaty of Versailles was extremely unpopular. Germany was severely pressured to sign and accept the terms of the treaty and the consequences that came with it. The Treaty of Versailles caused Germany to undergo serious economic depression and inflation. By using the desperation of the German people, Hitler was able to rise to power. The U.S. Senate refused to ratify the treaty, and the U.S. government claimed no responsibility for most of the effects and consequences it caused. Once his second term of presidency ended, Woodrow Wilson earned many awards. One of these awards was the 1919 Nobel Peace Prize. He was awarded the prize due to his success in helping form the treaty and ending World War I.
The Treaty of Versailles is remembered today as an attempt at a compromise that would end the conflict and fighting of World War I, as well as preventing a future war from occurring. In many ways, the treaty was a success, and in others, a failure. Though it was able to successfully mark the end of World War I, it also caused a chain of events that led to World War II. In the following years to come, the treaty had to undergo many modifications until it was unable to change any further without altering the original ideology. What truly caused the Treaty of Versailles to fail was that the Allies did not enforce the terms of the treaty and assumed that Germany would cooperate willingly. In the words of James Atkinson, the Allies were strong enough to win the war, but not strong enough to secure the peace.